presented by, here we go. Welcome into another Off Ice show presented by Trusted American. Trusted American salary-based mortgage consultants want to help you get into a better interest rate and lower your monthly payments. Go to trustedamerican.com to see how much they can save you today.
Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Off Ice. I'm MacKenzie Angley, joined by Chloe Theil and Jesse Montano for another Pyramid edition. It's been already contentious before we even turned the cameras on and hit record.
Fault. It's
They're,
Chloe's
like,
fault.
Not my fault.
I don't know if it's because we're really channeling our inner dance mom's energy,
We are.
but it's been a little cutthroat around here. I think we actually were in pretty much agreement, though, over our
Mhm.
selection. So
Well, so it actually all started
Yeah.
when I got back from practice and Chloe started yelling at me about my list. And I said, honestly, I could maybe even just copy paste Megan's list. I only have like one or two variations. And she just started yelling at me.
Okay,
So I had to do my own.
Well, hold on here because I asked Jesse, I said, do you have a list? Because last time he didn't even bother to make a list and then proceeded to get mad at me and Megan for having our own list.
Again, I didn't get mad. I
I
was
don't know about that.
laughing because there was someone at number 4 on that pyramid who has not appeared on the pyramid before or after that. And I said,
KV.
what I said was recency bias is a hell of a drug.
But you
isn't
can't
that the
we were-
whole point
we
of
were-
the pyramid? The
the
last
No,
10
10
game
games,
segment.
no.
That's recent. What are you
The
going to do
10
about
game
it?
segment is supposed to be a decent sample size. You have a good chunk of the season to go off of.
Two
Trends-
multi-point games.
Trends can flush themselves out.
No, it's 10
One of the
games.
multi-point games was a hat trick with 2 empty net goals.
Yeah.
He launched the comeback
So?
against the San Jose frickin' Sharks. He shouldn't have needed to be that guy.
Also, nobody said you could make the rules round here.
I didn't
Round
make the
here,
rules. I
partner.
was just
Round
commenting
here,
on the
partner.
rules last time.
I'm saying
All right, little
now.
lady,
This is
settle
off-
down.
This is off to an off the rails start.
All right, but you know what is not off the rails or a start? The Avs at the halfway point of their season. They are third in the Central, 3 points back of the Wild.
Back on the rails.
They're back on the rails, and it's not the start. It's a great point for them to be at the midway point in the season. 8-1-1 in their last 10, 3-0-1 in this last homestand, which Chloe cited as one of the things she'd like to see the Avs do a little better in the new year, and that is play a little better at home. I think they're off to a great start with that New Year's resolution,
Mhm.
and they've done a lot of good things over this last 10-game segment. We kind of dug into part of these games in our last episode because they were partway through their next 10, so we were getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but I'm excited to talk about how this team has turned things around. Before we do, though, let's check in with Jesse with some practice updates before the team
Yeah.
takes off on a road trip.
Yeah, so we talked. It was a fun practice. Like it looked like they had a lot of fun. They were playing games and practice, and I actually even overheard 2 guys in the locker room saying, "I said that was a fun practice," and the other person replied, and they said, "You know what? I actually was dreading practice when I woke up this morning, but that was really fun. I had fun
Aw.
today." And so it was a good
Now we have
vibe.
to guess who said it.
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting. I won't tell you on here, but I'll tell you after.
No.
All right. Well, you have the whole show to think about.
Oh God.
Who was that conversation between?
I thought Megan would have an answer right away.
Well, the fact that you're
is happening?
withholding their identity, protecting the sacred.
It was
Locker
Nathan MacKinnon
room
on both sides
conversations.
talking to himself.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
looking in a mirror and said, "You did great today, champ. That was a fun practice."
But Val was on the ice beforehand. It was reported yesterday. Jared Bednar did tell the folks on Altitude Radio that Val would be joining the team on the road trip. That is not the case. Val will be staying back. We're getting some work on his own. Scott Wedgwood was out on the ice before practice, so didn't participate in the full group activity, but was on the ice before practice. Like you and I talked about yesterday, given the way he went down, the way the injury looked, has to feel like best case scenario.
I want to give some snaps for Scott Wedgwood. Not having a high ankle sprain, that could have been devastating
Well, I mean,
for the season.
That could have been an injury that could have kept him out multiple months. So for him to already be back on the ice to any extent, I think is a good thing. And then was able to catch up with MacKenzie Blackwood on the 5-year anniversary of him losing his 2 front teethers. And the video looked painful from when it happened. So it was just fun to be able to talk to him about it. Said that he has since changed his mask in the way that it fits.
Thank God.
Because it was the mask that fit really tight right around his mouth. And he said he looked around a screen and a puck hit him and it knocked his 2 front teeth out and gave him a concussion.
Wait, you have to...
Oh my gosh.
Finished the period.
What he said was it knocked his teeth and his teeth folded into his mouth, which is the grossest thing I've ever heard.
The clip you posted.
Because they're still in there. In the video, the teeth are still in there.
Yeah.
But you can tell they're just like not quite sitting right.
Mhm.
And so, the mask knocked them loose enough that the phrase he used, like Chloe said, was folded, that his teeth folded back in his mouth. And I asked him, I said, what was going through your head when you finished the period? He goes, honestly, I don't even remember. And because, then we were talking about him.
I had a very serious concussion.
And that was when he said it gave me a concussion.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
And he still made like a crazy save after that too.
Well, and so that was what I asked him. I said, how were you able to make that save? And he's like, I don't know. I don't. And
I don't remember.
Muscle memory.
Yeah.
Goalies are freaks.
I mean, honestly.
Affectionately.
For real. And I mean, like, total hockey guy. My 2 front teeth are hanging halfway out of my face. It's only 27 seconds. I'll just finish this out. Like, what? Psycho. That is psycho shit.
I want to hold space for the fact that it took
space.
him
Oh,
5
God.
years.
Give me your finger.
5
Defying gravity.
5
go ahead,
years
hold
to
space.
get his teeth. And he keeps telling us the teeth are coming. The teeth are coming.
He said he had some
okay.
that came out while he was eating.
That makes a lot more sense.
Like didn't stay in. Like they weren't supposed to come out. They didn't stay in. So he's getting much more permanent ones soon.
I like how you
Shout
said
out.
the teeth are coming. Like
the British are
Yeah, like the
coming.
British. Yeah.
I don't know if you meant to do that on purpose.
As it came out, I immediately clocked it. Don't know why that was the tone of it. But I'm glad he's getting his teeth and he's going to get his flowers a little bit later.
I
today.
said too, I don't want to see what he looks like with teeth because I'm so used to him not having teeth that I feel like he'd look weird with teeth.
I agree.
I don't know if
I
anybody
like
feels
to
like
see
that.
hockey players in their toothless smiles,
Mhm.
but I mean, do what makes you happy also.
You know what? You're right.
All right. Let's just talk generally for a second about the last 10 game segment from a team perspective. How we're feeling about what they've done. And you could broaden it. It doesn't have to be within just the scope of the last 10 games, just kind of a pulse check for where we're at with this team.
I feel good after my New Year's resolutions. You mentioned what I said before. I want their win percentage to be better at home. And then I also said that I wanted the power play to be better, which kind of defeats what I'm going to say next. But I thought I said I wanted the PK to be a little bit better.
Chloe
and
is hiding bangs.
yeah, they're under this hat. You just can't see them. But I want to give a shout out to the PK because I think that has been a really big part of this last 10 games, especially in that game against Buffalo, them being 5-on-3 and in overtime and being able to kill that penalty is really, really huge for the team. And same with last night. They against the defending Stanley Cup champions, they did not have a power play goal. And I think that's phenomenal. So props to the PK.
I love the shout out to the PK. And I've been trying to bait Bednar and company into highlighting the PK more, but he kind of just defers back to goaltending.
Yeah.
Like, we're getting some saves, so that helps the PK.
Mhm.
So it's funny you say that, Megan, because I can't remember who it was that tried to get him to, not necessarily on the PK, but we again tried to get him to take the bait of like, well, what's different now? How much better are you guys playing now? And the thing that I find interesting is the message has remained remarkably consistent from Nathan MacKinnon, Jared Bednar, Cale McCarr, any of the leaders, that the team, they believe that they were playing well early in the season, and that there were small mistakes that were costing them big that were leading to bad results. And I don't think anybody is trying to beat up on Georgiev and Annunen in that locker room or anything like that. But like, you could be family members of those dudes, and you have to admit that they weren't playing up to, even let's say that you think they're good goalies. They weren't playing up to expectations at bare minimum, like, I think that's the nicest way you could be about it. And I just think that there is a small sense of pride with this team right now of like, no, we were not playing that bad.
Yes.
That everyone keeps telling us how poorly we were playing, but the analytics don't suggest that we were. And our film, and when we look at it, when we review it, we don't think that we were playing that bad. The difference is we're getting saves. Now, I would argue a little bit. I think there's a noticeable difference in the way that they're playing right now. I think the confidence is higher. And the number one thing I think it is what we talked about yesterday. They have the confidence to play the way they want to play. And, you're talking about the penalty kill on top of getting saves. I can't remember who it was that left the comment on a show last week about like, they're not having to play hero to try to prevent what they perceive as like a dangerous scoring chance. And they're in position, and they're in passing lanes, and they have active sticks because they're not needing to sell out and try to, 4 guys collapse in front to block a shot. Like, I just think that they're playing more confident. And to me, if this is the version of the team that they're going to continue to build on, this is going to be a scary group come April.
I think it's an excellent shout out. That comment and what you just mentioned echoes what Taves said in a post-game recently, that guys are playing to their roles. And he's talked about this before. When guys stray from them, that's when things don't go well for this team. And the way in which I think players strayed from their roles earlier in this season was to overcompensate for a lack of trust in goaltending. And that's where we'd see mistakes get made from players like a Devon Taves, uncharacteristic mistakes, because I think that he was trying to do too much at times in his own end and scrambling to be the one to cover somebody because of a missed assignment, someone caught puck watching in their own end, those kinds of things. And I look back just the Florida game yesterday, the Carter Verhaeghe goal, the only goal against in this game that gets allowed. It's a little bit of a mistake at center ice. They lose a board battle and it ends up coming the other way. And Keaton Middleton gets caught in kind of a bad position there. It's the only mistake, though. That's the only goal allowed against the reigning Stanley Cup champions. So the difference, I think, being they allowed a few more mistakes like that and they couldn't recover from them. And every mistake like that was ending up in the back of the net. That's not to say the Avs played a perfect game past that point yesterday.
You're right.
It just means they've eliminated more of those mistakes from their game. And so, all right, they make the one mistake, they improve moving forward. And they're also getting some saves to supplement that. But to your point, I agree that they're playing a little differently. I think they deserved more credit than they got earlier this year because they were doing things well on the PK, for example. They weren't atrocious in their own end at some of those 10-game segments. They actually were very strong defensively. There were some, though, that were weaker. And so there was room for growth from the team playing in front of the goaltender, too. But they've shown that steadily. And so now the PK, kind of this symptom of all of these improvements, it's still 22nd in the league overall, which doesn't sound great, but it's 10th overall in this last 10-game stretch. And it's steadily been improving week by week, month by month, and the goaltending being the biggest difference and change.
Can you put that comment from Brooke, right there? This to me, in addition to the confidence and what we were just saying. So the comment says, this is a comment from Brooke. I think especially with the way national coverage, they feel like, quote, this is the Avs feeling like, quote, why are people surprised? We're a really good team. That to me is the other small thing that they feel like they're playing a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, like a little bit of something to prove and a little bit of that, like, oh, all right, everyone thought we were done. Cool. People were taking us off their Stanley Cup list. Noted. Got it. And I feel like they're playing with a little bit, in addition to more confidence and trust in their goaltenders. I do think there's a little bit of an edge. And I think for the first time in a few years, there's been able to be that message a little bit of nobody thinks you can win. They counted you out. We're having to trade our goalies mid-season. We got injuries. Nobody thinks that you guys are any good anymore. And to me, they look like they're playing a little bit pissed off, which is good.
I like that a lot because the power play, I think we've all briefly acknowledged here, has not been very good lately. Like, it's still in the discovery phase. They're trying to figure out what they want to be. And I think some of that is they lose key players, whether it be a Jonathan Drouin, previously now a Val Nichushkin, that are usually so vital, especially on that top unit, that despite having some of the same players that have been on the top unit for years together, I still think they've lacked some consistency and rhythm there, that they're still trying to sort out the power play.
Oh! Ding, 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 ding.
I
ding,
must
ding,
summon
ding.
the disco
Woo!
lights.
Wow, great summon. Great summon. I love that. I absolutely love that.
I'm obsessed because he knew.
Yeah.
Because not every time we've been able to successfully summon the lights,
Right,
but
right.
vaguely knew today.
Love that.
$1.99 from Vaguely Sober. Thank you so much
Thanks,
for the
Vaguely.
super chat.
Always
and
thank
the
you.
successful summon.
Anything else on the way they're playing?
No, I was just gonna.
I felt
like,
bad. We just hadn't. I talked.
I
over her a
love
couple
listening.
times.
No. As soon as they said, exactly what you were talking about, that like we're still here,
Mhm.
you could tell that they were pissed off, and I think it's sometimes a lot better when they play pissed off. It was the same thing with Buffalo. You could tell they were pissed off in
Yep,
that game, and
yep.
they really, really switched it on.
Nate has earned the nickname Angry Nate for a reason.
Oh yeah.
When Angry Nate is out there, it's he's almost impossible to stop.
Mhm.
We had a comment up there that I just wanted to shout out. Oh, down one. Oh, nope. Back up.
Is it?
Oh, the Avs trio one.
Oh,
Damn, that was crazy. I thought we were going to be able to.
Oh.
I thought we were able to doubt. Sorry, Jay, that was my fault. Best Avs trio in the biz. I love when
the Jabby Clappy Mappies?
yes
Jabby
are
Mabby.
together. I just wanted to shout that one out.
Thank
We've gotten
you.
so much love in the last week from folks, and it just warms my little heart.
No,
so much.
it makes me really
Little
happy
heart.
too.
Little heart.
Jesse's heart grew 3 sizes.
I love the Grinch.
Shout out to
I
Clappy.
love the Grinch.
You kind of look like him too.
All right. Well, I thought you were like, oh, you kind of are Grinch. Look like him.
That's crazy.
Which
All right,
version?
all right.
I'm just kidding.
Aiden G in
You
the
don't
chat
wanna know.
says, since you guys are around the team and I know you're obviously not in there when Bednar is speaking to them, does the room feel different after we began getting saves?
Yeah. Yeah. Big time.
In all caps.
Big time.
Yes.
That exchange that I talked about off the top of the show today, where guys were just like, that was fun. I loved practice. Like, even if they did love practice, like that, those exchanges weren't happening. They were like small little like pocket conversations and then whatever. And now it's just like guys are yelling around the room. There's music going on in the locker room today.
I've always wondered that. When I do visitor skate at morning skate, there's usually room music. That's words. There's usually music going in the room that they have to quiet. It's usually a locker room. Isn't that crazy, guys? And I've always wondered that about the Avs, and I do like to see that there's a little music going at practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nate needs a little smile on his face.
He's the DJ.
Yeah.
Is he?
I actually don't know, but in those little Ask Avs segments, they say he's got great music taste, so I'm just curious.
I know he at least used to have a big hand in picking the warm-up playlist.
In win though, because definitely not this year.
Yeah, I don't know if he still does, but I know it was a couple years ago because guys liked his music taste. He picked a lot of the warm-up stuff. But I always found it weird that like Ryan Johansson last year was the de facto locker room DJ.
Jean. And it stinks.
Oh, I'm not even talking about necessarily the win song. Do you know where that one came from?
No, do you know?
Because that one's got like a little bit of an origin story to it, which I always thought was kind of lame. But I just thought it was so weird because he would be the one. Because when they're on the road, they have this huge speaker that they travel with that they play music loud.
Yeah.
And apparently he was the one who was in charge of that, which I just always thought was weird because
I think that's weird too.
He was the new boy.
Yeah, I think he had the person, like, as much as things did not go well for him here in Colorado, I think he came in strong with a big personality that made sense for that. And then
he definitely came.
The on ice play just didn't translate. But that is a problem the Avs don't have to worry about very much anymore. They just have to make sure their energy is right, especially after a little bit of a sleeper in the Montreal game. They didn't start the Buffalo game the way that they wanted. But if you want to start the day the way that you should.
Love it.
7 Brew Coffee is a one-of-a-kind drive-through and walk-up experience with a fast and friendly crew that is waiting to serve you from rich, bold coffee to refreshing energy drinks, smoothies, teas, milkshakes, and more. 7 Brew has you covered with over 20,000 flavor combinations. There's a perfect drink for everyone at 7 Brew. They believe in cultivating kindness with every cup, and their fully customizable menu is just the beginning. Before you hit the road, power up with 7 Brew and Firestone and experience the coffee revolution. Are we okay?
Jesse just threw his empty water bottle
Whoa.
at me like I was a trash can.
Guys, I'm just
Whoa.
That was crazy. I
Chat-
never expected you to do something.
Chat, my
like
eyes and
that.
ears weren't paying attention. Can you tell me who did the bad thing?
The camera was on you, which was the best part.
No.
Who always does the bad thing?
Oh,
'Cause
that's
I'll tell you right now.
mischievous.
It's Jay.
I think the
It's
person who
always
knew,
Jay.
I think the person who knew the camera wasn't on him is the one who did it.
Exactly.
Guilty. All right. We're gonna start transitioning to
Should I
our
walk over
pyramid.
there?
Yeah, Jesse's getting kicked off the
All right.
set.
Go back to Megan. Cut back to Megan.
Jesse's gonna kick
So
one of
while,
us.
while Jesse is getting situated, we just have to say that essentially before this started, Jesse was making fun of me for my job as putting the Velcro things on the
Jesse,
pyramid and ripping it off. So I said, "Why don't you do it, Jesse?"
Jesse in his Bennington era.
No,
Isn't that good? Isn't that good, you guys?
has to be the worst thing anybody
Hurricane
has said about you.
teabag. That's wonderful commentary. Vaguely sober. Another super chat. So if we get more lights going, I
Oh,
think
Jay's
it's
screaming back there.
warranted because there needs to be at least one adult in the chat,
It feels like
and
it feels
Vaguely's
wrong
holding us
to-
accountable.
to do this super chat. That's
Hey! I told Jesse no hitting.
Jesse. Doesn't it feel wrong that Vaguely has to pin us hitting?
Yeah. Doesn't that feel a
Hey.
little bit wrong?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm mic'd up yet. I don't know if anybody can hear me, but Megan's supposed to not be doing any dirtbag stuff either.
You know, I'm just a dirtbag. I'm just a dirtbag.
She's just a teenage dirt.
I'm
bag.
just a teenage dirtbag.
Great song.
Yeah, great.
Great song.
Like
You
the
know
Pina
what?
Colada
Like-
song.
Yes, I have the Pina Colada song like queued up in my on my phone. It's a great song.
Can we hear Jesse in the chat?
I think I'm
That's
good.
Yes.
Wonderful.
I think I'm good.
All right. So to recap the pyramid, this is game 31 through 41, basically December 12th through now. How we feel about that last 10 game stretch from the Avs and ranking the players. Only 15 can make the pyramid. So we've saved a little more space today to talk about the players who did not make the pyramid this time. But we will start in a moment with the bottom of the
Well,
pyramid.
do you want to start with talking about the one guy that you guys? I know I realized that halfway through this pile.
Drama.
Oh,
About the one player that has been on the previous two and is no
no.
longer.
we have to end with that because
I
then
thought
Oh.
we were gonna
spoils
end with it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, that makes sense.
Because
That
then
makes
people
sense.
be like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
yeah,
is
yeah.
X gonna be on it?"
Yeah,
then
totally,
they're
totally.
like,
No, I
"Uh-oh."
get it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Uh-oh. Okay, you know what? Here's one that's not on the pyramid that doesn't feel like we're spoiling anything.
Oh.
Yuso Parssinen.
Oh.
He's a new addition to the team. I want to give him an honorable mention.
Mhm.
He's still getting adjusted, and he gets his first point with the team last night. So I want to give him a shout out. He gets rewarded with the big hat. I still think that fourth line does not have an identity, and it's not his fault. And so I'm excited for what he can contribute to the Avs in the future. I think it's going to take a little time for us to see the full Parssinen vision, but excited to see him get his first point. He doesn't make the pyramid this time, but there is possibility in the future.
I was sad when you sent 17 and then I got confused. But he was your last. He was.
I
your
just want
17.
people to know.
And I was like, dang, maybe I should have done some sort of honorable mention. I wish that he would have gotten that goal last night. I was hoping that maybe he had tipped it in.
Megan
But
and
we'll
I
take a
thought he
point.
did.
I know.
It
Yeah,
was close.
I did too. Stupid Taves.
So stupid Taves. So true. He's just a
I'm ready.
okay.
Ready over here.
We're gonna start with the bottom of the pyramid. I might need a refresher too.
Oh
as
yeah.
we go along.
I'll go first. I'll
Beautiful.
announce who's on.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Last 15th on the pyramid, Parker Kelly. Parker Kelly. Game has wavered a little bit, but has still overall been positive. Maybe not just quite as strong as we saw him a few weeks ago.
Parker Kelly, his shorthanded goal is still included in this last 10 game segment. So over the last 10 games, that shorthanded goal, 2 assists, gutsy guy on the kill, most hits in this segment, and most blocks per 60 among forwards. So those are to the eye test what Parker Kelly has been this year. I'd obviously like to see that third line in general get going a little bit more. They've been steady and consistent in what they're doing, but I think they can pose more of a scoring threat. And Parker Kelly kind of stands out among the pack. Look, we're separating Kiviranta's hat trick from this as well, because he doesn't make the pyramid this time because he's not having the all-around impact
Or
quite
does
the
he?
same way.
We don't know.
Or does he?
Yeah.
Quite the same way that Parker Kelly has. Parker Kelly's got to be on the pyramid. He's a guy we continue to love. Maybe he's not higher in the pyramid, but he continues to make it every time.
I love how much trust Bednar has been putting into the bottom 6, and especially their line. Like, you can really see it last night. It was very noticeable that they had a lot more time on ice than they were before. But yeah, he has a goal and a point in this last 10 games. Another shout out to the PK. He's been great on that. I think he's been really hardworking and has a sort of grit about him that I've been liking. So he's definitely, hopefully, going to keep moving his way up.
Well, we'll keep it moving here because of something that you just mentioned, Chloe. Logan O'Connor coming in at 14. I think that third line has been the secret X factor for this Avalanche group, maybe their most consistent line. And Megan, it doesn't seem like all that much of a coincidence that I feel like we have this type of conversation every year, depending on which line Logan O'Connor is playing on.
Logan, this has been the most consistent line, and I think that you're a huge part of it. You're also a huge reason that you were able to launch a comeback in the Buffalo game. You leveraged that PK following the failed coaches challenge to draw a penalty and turn that into a man advantage opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You looked like a bat out of hell. I love what that meant. That's an expression.
Yeah.
What? A bat out
A bat out of hell?
Yeah, a
Oh,
man on a
man.
mission.
Is
Wait,
this
am I
like,
supposed
are
to
we
know what this
old?
is?
We're
Is that like
not old.
Is that an old thing?
We're
Somebody
not
explain
old.
this to me.
Well, imagine you were a bat and you were stuck in hell and the doors got open. You'd probably fly out the doors pretty quick,
Why
right?
am I a bat? Can't I just be me?
Well, then you wouldn't be able to fly.
How do you know?
Can you fly?
Anyway.
Chloe, Logan O'Connor.
I put essentially the same thing I put for Parker Kelly. Same line, same thing about his grit. I think that like last night, there was an unnecessary penalty for him. Obviously, that wasn't his fault, but I do like that you can see him contributing defensively, and I think that was a big part of that penalty last night. Was, but yeah, that's essentially what I have.
Would like to see a little bit more offensively out of those two for them to move up the pyramid a bit.
Yes.
Another person that you want to see more out of offensively, but stays on the pyramid or making his way back onto the pyramid, making his way back onto the pyramid with some decent play. Casey Middlestat,
Yeah.
not fully out of the slump necessarily, but playing much better than the last 10-game segment.
I want to reward growth. Casey Middlestat was held off the pyramid last time, and there's still a ways to go before we see Casey Middlestat ascend back to the level of play we saw at the start of this year and truly what a second line center should be. But over this last 10-game segment, he gets that goal. He's 4 assists. That goal, I think the Winnipeg game finally breaks through. And what's interesting is having Nichushkin out of the lineup with an injury has made things difficult for the whole of the top 6 big picture. And so Colton and Middlestat have kind of been consistently placed together, and on a nightly basis, it has highs and lows. There's sometimes the best possession line 5v5 and sometimes the worst. He picks up an assist against Florida last night too. So I want to believe that Casey Middlestat is still getting his train back on its tracks and trending in the right direction. He needs to be higher in this pyramid.
Got some Avs breaking news here.
Hey.
Apparently they got a puppy.
Did they name it after Peter McNabb?
Doesn't look
Maxie?
like there's not a name yet.
It's definitely Maxie. Let me see.
A Labrador Retriever.
Breaking news.
Yeah, breaking news.
Oh my
Update.
God.
Avs get a team dog.
Oh my God.
I don't know if you can see it because he's
Which
just
is
a
a little
big
black
ball of
lump.
fluff.
Yeah.
But it's a pup date. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
It's a girl.
I love that.
That's phenomenal. That's the best breaking news you've ever had.
Oh.
So yeah,
my
I don't.
gosh.
Have they officially joined the team trend or the NHL trend of getting a dog?
I think I heard something about this though a little bit before, that they were planning on doing it, but they hadn't decided yet.
I don't know things about betting that well, but I'm putting a bet on the Avs to win the cup
There you go.
because of the puppy.
Speaking of, I did just start betting specifically on the Avs. I've lost all my money.
No.
Oh no.
I was doing so well last week after the Buffalo game. That really came through for me. And then last night, I keep betting on just a Kale anytime goal, and it's not working for me. It's not working for me.
That's a little surprising.
I know.
That's a good bet.
It's like every time I bet, he doesn't want to score. Anyway, Logan, or not
Casey.
Logan, Casey. Sorry, Casey. He's putting out phenomenal passes. That's the biggest thing that I've seen in this last 10 games. He got moved down to the bottom line, and it kind of broke through for him. He was able to score, and now he's back up on the second line. And I think that helped a lot. And it was something I noticed a lot last night. I think it was like a pass that he had to Kale, and it was beautiful right in front of the net. It's not his fault that most of the passes, then the people he passes it to weren't able to actually get it through, but just wanted to shout him out for that because I've been seeing a lot of that lately, and he's doing a lot better.
Doing better. Still playing through a little bit of injury.
I love that the way you're doing this.
Oh, perfect. All right. I thought that was gonna be more criticism.
No, never.
Could be better, but you get rewarded for getting back in the lineup, finding a way to be effective. Josh Manson, 12th on the pyramid.
He's only just returned December 27th. He's only been in 5 games since his return, but he picked up 2 big assists in the Winnipeg game to help kind of get the offense going. And it's clear that he is playing through a little bit of injury at times. Some of those uncharacteristic mistakes that we described with Taves, a few giveaways of the puck from Manson. But if you could find a way to get on the score sheet and be a difference maker, you kind of neutralize some of the mistakes. And I'm glad to see that they're managing his return to play with caution, because it's clear, especially from that Winnipeg game, how important you are, Josh.
Josh, I keep forgetting I have to directly talk to you. Been really great since being back from injury. I'm very happy that he's back. I think he's definitely stepped up. He has had a few basic mistakes, like a few giveaways, or like not being in position on some really easy plays. But overall, I think he's doing very well.
Player that I can't fully decide how I feel about the season that he's having so far. Sammy G rounds out the bottom of the pyramid, coming in at 11th. Sam Girard.
I have some conflicted feelings about you as well, Sam Girard. He's still one of the steadiest defensemen on the PK.
Yep.
But 2 assists in his last 10 game stretch. And for a guy whose calling card is moving the puck and being an offensive defenseman, I want to see a little bit more. I think that having Manson out of the lineup, who is his steady pair mate, has been difficult for him maybe in ways, but I want to see a little bit more offense from Sam Girard in order for him to move up this pyramid, because he's really not doing anything to cost them defensively. He's not really doing anything wrong. I just want to see him make more of an impact as a second pair defenseman.
Mm-hmm. I essentially, wrote down the same thing. I think I like that Bednar's able to kind of put him anywhere. He's been paired with Taves, he's been with Kale, and I like that he's consistent enough that he's able to do that. But I do think that he's doing what he needs to do defensively, and now he can focus on contributing more offensively.
To your point, Megan, second pairing defenseman, you want to see a little bit more out of that. Both your points. The next guy that you want to see a little bit more out of, but he's playing the right way. We maybe just got a little bit spoiled with that production early on in the season. Ross Colton, first player on the next tier up, doing a lot of good things, but want to see that production get back to where it was at the start of the year.
Ross, when I shouted out blocks per 60 for forwards, he's the second among them, and he's hitting guys, he's blocking shots, and he's playing with energy. I can't decide who I'm addressing this at, Ross or speaking.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Ross, continue to bring the energy. It's honestly what I think has revitalized any hope of that second line being competitive right now. I still think the key to the second line getting back on track is in Ross Colton. I think it's been a little quiet. Like, he returned in early December. He was pretty hot and obviously added energy. I still think he brings the energy, but I think he can pose more of a scoring threat, especially on that second line, than he has in this last 10-game stretch.
Ross is my didn't notice a lot from you, but also did notice a little bit from you, my in-between player. I think he's been great on the second line. He's definitely, I don't know what to call it. I don't want to call it like that he's in like a bad place right now, but I just think he's been average. And also, somebody in the chat said Chloe's 21. I'm not 21. I'm 23.
I think they were just surprised that you were over 21. That was how I read that.
What? I don't think so.
Another player that can help get guys like Ross Colton back on track, to Chloe's point. Once he gets healthy, not going on the road trip here, Val Nichushkin just can't overstate his importance to this group.
It's kind of a similar story of Jonathan Drouin, who we've seen in smaller sample sizes, but is impactful even in the smaller sample. And for Val Nichushkin, even over this last 10-game segment, he doesn't even get to complete it because he goes out with injury. He still has 6 points in 8 games over that stretch, 17 points in 21 games on the year. It's obvious the impact that he has when he is in the lineup, a powerful player who just makes the bigger picture of the top 6 more complete. That option there is so important for them. And then the absence of him on the power play, I think they're feeling it right now. He's such a good guy at the net front, and I think they missed that big body wreaking havoc and screening guys from Val Nichushkin, and I'm glad that he'll be returning soon.
Sean Colorado said Val's Pals is no more.
Val's Pals is taking a break.
It's taking a little bit of a break, but hopefully we'll be back. I think Val's been great. I think his two-way game has been phenomenal. The only reason that he's as low as he is right now is because he's been injured.
Yeah. I'd say that's fair. How about the swaggy ass hat here on Chloe today, huh? Next player is a guy who's
thank you for the shout out.
Well, I was looking at it on the screen and I was like, yep, still like it just as much as I did when you walked in this morning.
Thank you.
Another player who returned from injury, I'm a little bit worried about because he's taken a couple maintenance days in the recent days. Jared Bednar told us it's an injury where when he's good, he's good. When he's not, he needs to take a day off. But limited game, limited availability, still finding a way to make a huge impact. Jonathan Drouin, availability is a skill. He's got to work on his for this year. When he's in the lineup, really seems to be helping.
I'd like to hope that this is just a bigger picture philosophy change that the team is adopting around recovery with playoffs in mind. Like, we're going to rest our players in season. So like Josh Manson, he's going to take maintenance days as needed. And Jonathan Drouin, kind of similarly, he's going to take maintenance days and might even get games off here and there as needed because we're trying to get guys more rested with playoff ambitions in mind versus just regular season results, because we believe in the core that's in on a nightly basis to help string together points too, that the fate of this team doesn't hinge on Jonathan Drouin alone. He can afford to take some nights off. That's my hope. 2-point games back-to-back, Buffalo and Winnipeg. He's only played in 9 games since his return on the 31st, but 3 goals, 5 assists in that time. It's matching a point per game pace in the games that he played earlier in the year through now. That's obviously a huge impact to the top 6.
The Buffalo game. I want to see that from him every night. like we know he can do it. It's obvious he can do it because he did it in that game. It needs to be more consistent. I am also a little bit confused about the injury thing. I wish that they would, like, Bednar would maybe be a little bit more open on what's going on.
I wish they'd just say, like, hey, it's a rib injury specifically, and it feels really sore. It's not going to be made worse, but he also doesn't need to play through excruciating pain. I don't know.
Mhm.
That's purely speculative.
Is it like every three games, then he has to, take a game
Yeah,
off?
the pain threshold's just like really high at that point.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Chloe had a sentence a minute ago that was a little bit of a Ben Myers sentence where she just kind of stopped halfway. Moving on, next
That's
spot
why
on the
I heard
pyramid.
it. Ben Myers.
Next spot on the
He doesn't
pyramid.
even go
It's because my boyfriend just walked in and I got nervous.
here.
I don't have my glasses on, and I was like, "Who is
Who
that?"
the hell is that?
Next player out with injury right now, back on the ice already. So yeah, he's been out a little bit, but can't undersell the impact of Scott Wedgwood, rounding out second to bottom tier of the pyramid.
You look. I just saw you without your glasses on. And it looked weird. It's so funny. Sorry. go ahead.
Megan avoids serious injury. What can you say about this guy?
Scott, I'm really glad that you didn't get more hurt. That was scary, and
Yeah.
I'm still mad about it. I lose sleep over this. I get angry. I do. We can't say that we care about player safety and not blow that whistle. Anyways, I'm glad it's not worse. This hasn't even been his best stretch with the Avs so far. He's got a .917 save percentage on the season as a whole, but .875 save percentage over this last stretch, with the Buffalo game and the Utah game where they had 3 goals against being kind of the key things that made those numbers what they are. And you look at the team performance a little bit, you wish the Avs came out a little stronger to start that Buffalo game so that they didn't need to make a comeback. And then similarly, that Utah game, just a little bit funky. So I'm not hanging that on Wedgwood. He's still continuing to be a difference maker, and his early results with the Avs are too important to forget, even in this next 10-game segment.
I love how much he's established himself with the other players, that when he was injured like that, then it sparked something in the team. I think that's incredible. And every time I talk about him, I always say the same thing, but it's always his personality and his outlook on the game. But that's why he stays on my pyramid.
Well, and I would even make the argument that what he has brought to the locker room is almost more valuable than what he's doing on the ice, which has still been very good. Moving up a rung here on the pyramid, Artturi Lekkonen. What play from this guy? A hat trick in the last segment.
Well, don't say too much about that, because I guess a hat trick in the last segment wasn't enough to be fourth.
He scored more than one goal with a goalie in net. All right.
A hat trick is a hat trick.
You could have scored 2 of those goals that Kivy put in.
I bet you couldn't.
You're probably right. What do you think about Lekkonen?
I love Lekkonen, and I actually worry that he's lower in this pyramid than he was before. I might need to confirm that, because in my heart he's higher, but are just bigger performances to come out of this last 10-game segment that we gotta hype up. So this is not Lekkonen falling backwards in his performance. I think he moved forward. Do you have it?
The last one? No, but I was actually going to say, for me, this is the part of the pyramid where you really start getting into the top performers. These are all guys that you think can maybe give a little bit more, still good, more to give. This is where I really do kind of, because I just don't know how you put him in front of the rest of the guys that we've got on the pyramid here.
I fully agree. So I want to give Lekkonen his flowers, though. I think he's made forward progress since the last 10-game segment. 6 goals, 1 assist. Obviously, 3 of those goals part of the hat trick against Utah. But he had a goal against Winnipeg, which also made for back-to-back goals in games, which points to, hopefully, a resurgence in Lekkonen getting his game to an even better place and a more obvious place.
Yeah, I mean, 2 goals against Nashville, hat trick in Utah, goal in Winnipeg. I think he's looking really, really good, and he's moving in the right direction.
All right, for the first time, he is unseated
No.
at the top of the pyramid. Cale
Upset alert.
McCarr. Cale McCarr.
Upset alert. I'm upset.
Fifth on the pyramid. Chloe, why don't you start us off on this
Kale
one?
was my third. Kale was my third. So I'm not claiming this. Okay. This was not my doing. This was everybody else's doing. He's been dominant on the power play. I think he's in a like I'm just gonna get it done mentality. You know, like I can't even remember what game it is, but like walking the puck up from the blue line and scoring immediately, like he's doing everything himself, you know. And one of the things that I put down, he's had 39 shots on goal in the last 10 games, which is incredible. And this includes 2 games in a row where he registered 7 shots in 2 separate games. So
Back-to-back
14
games.
back-to-back,
Yep.
yeah. So I think that, you know, same thing with Gerard, he's getting it done defensively, but he's taking the opportunity to allow him to build offensively.
I'm just real quick. I'm gonna cut in here because I agree with so much of what Chloe is saying. I don't know. Maybe you were talking about the Buffalo game.
I think it was the Buffalo, even though it was overturned.
Because
That goal was overturned, but I think it was Buffalo.
he had the 2 goals against Buffalo that were incredible goals. One where he walks down the right side, makes a quick little move, throws it short side over UPL. I looked at Megan
Yeah,
and
you went.
Me too.
I said that was erotic. I believe
I
was
wanted
what-
to tweet. I wanted to tweet it. I was like, I don't think I should say that, but he just said it. So
Somebody put out and just said, like, why is everybody so casually, like, you know, just seeing what Cale McCarr does and not doing anything about it? And I tweeted back and I said, I'm screaming inside constantly. Like it never stops.
and no, he's definitely been good defensively all year long. He's been special with the puck on the stick the last 10 games. Go ahead, Megan. Sorry.
he's been great defensively, and I don't know if that's gotten enough credit, not just from this last 10 game segment, but just on the year so far. But in this last 10 game segment at 5v5, the fewest scoring chances against among Avs defensemen, fewest high danger chances against, keeping in mind he's playing top minutes, top matchups. To have those kind of defensive numbers then alongside both those factors is incredibly impressive. And then there's the obvious offensive contributions: 4 goals, 9 assists, 13 points in this last 10 game segment. He still has the most points among defensemen. We're getting a great Cale McCarr season, especially after last year, which was a quote unquote down year. I think to make those improvements in his full 200-foot game, you didn't think it was possible with Cale McCarr. So it's hard to see him at this place in the pyramid, but it's because I think some of his strong play has also helped to lift up others around him, including the rest of the people on this pyramid.
Do you guys, either of you, think that it's actually possible for Cale to maybe win MVP this year?
I think he's got to be the pretty solidly Norris favorite right now. I think it's going to be hard for him to win MVP, just given some of the seasons that are being had around him, including that of Nathan MacKinnon.
That's why I said that, by the way.
Did you have a
No.
no? Next guy on the list is one of those guys who is around Cale McCarr and is someone that we have been saying on the last 2 pyramids needs to be better, that there is just higher expectations for a player like him, and good enough is not good enough for this next player. And he responded in this last 10 game segment. Let's get myself tangled up here. Devon Toews.
In the same way that we chanted Kivy, I want to chant Taves for a second. Taves. He has moved very high up on the pyramid compared to where he was last. 4 goals, 5 assists, 9 points in his last 10 game segment. Back-to-back goals, Winnipeg and Buffalo, that 3-point night in Buffalo, and then 2 goals and an assist against Florida just last night. But in that stretch at 5v5, he's also 9th overall in the whole league of defensemen who've played at least around 145 minutes, which is first to second pair minutes over this last 10 game stretch. 9th overall Corsi for percentage, 2nd fewest goals against of any Avs defenseman, with the best differential between expected goals against and actual goals against. His defensive game has gotten back to the level we are expecting for Devon Toews. but he's also making huge offensive contributions. It's just a top to bottom improvement from him.
That's exactly what I put not only is he improving.
Hey!
Welcome
A
to
new
Homie.
member. Welcome to the Gorilla fam, Leon.
Wait, this one
All
is
right.
this one's disco lights, not the green lights. Oh my God, Jay,
Oh.
I'm so disappointed in you.
All right, green lights will work. Green lights will work.
Welcome, Leon.
Love
Dry
it.
title.
Yes.
Oh!
There they are.
Oh,
There
let's go.
they are. All right. All right.
Jay was lying to us that whole time.
See, what did we say earlier?
It's always
It's
Jay
always
causing
Jay.
the
Uh-oh.
trouble. So I put the same thing. Not only is he improving offensively, but I'm seeing what I needed to see from him defensively. I think one of the biggest plays that I saw from him was, being able to get that puck away from Tage Thompson, which eventually led to him scoring the game-winning goal, which of course him scoring that goal was phenomenal, but the defense that he had before that was what impressed me more.
The last comment from Vaguely. Jay was busy thinking about Casa Bonita. Oh, I love that.
Show like button.
Megan, you and I
Jay
mentioned
in the
on the show,
USA.
or I think it was post-game last night, R.E. Devon Taves, this team, everything runs to their defense. And when you're doing the right things defensively, you get rewarded offensively. That's the last point I wanted to make on Taves. To me, it's no coincidence that right when the game in his own end has gotten so much better, the point production is coming. Speaking,
So sorry.
no, go ahead.
Before we get to the final three of the pyramid,
Yes.
Scared.
in talking about top performers, I want to tell you guys that this segment is brought to you by our friends over at Landmark Lincoln.
They are top performers.
And one of their top performers, the all-new 2024 Lincoln Corsair GT Plug-in Hybrid. Head on over to landmarklincoln.com to check out the latest offers and incentives, including incredible tax incentives on all new Corsair GT plug-in hybrids. Go to landmarklincoln.com or stop into the #1 Lincoln dealer in Colorado to see if you qualify for no payments for up to 90 days. Again, that's landmarklincoln.com, or stop in at the corner of Broadway and Bellevue today and see why they've been Colorado's trusted Lincoln dealer since 1911.
There was one yesterday that I've just been thinking about how to do these because you've been so good at it. And you guys were talking about like trust, I think in MacKinnon, I'm not sure. But I was like, speaking of trust,
Speaking of
Yeah.
trust,
trusted American.
That was a missed opportunity.
that's a good.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep that in the memory
Yeah,
bank.
just file that one away.
Find reasons to talk about trust. Easy.
Easy.
Yeah.
Parker Kelly.
Parker
Trust.
Kelly. MacKenzie Blackwood. Trust.
One guy that you can trust that regardless of how the analytics look, of how the eye test looks, probably going to be on the score sheet, continues to do that and is right now barreling towards setting the NHL record for empty net goals in a season.
Nice.
So mean.
He's 2 away.
That's so mean.
Alex Ovechkin has the record at 9. Mikko Rantanen is at 7. That's not a shot. That's just factual.
You just had to find a way to bring up Ovi, didn't you?
Yo,
Yo,
he has not missed a beat. Coming back from injury,
he has not.
Ovi
You're
looks
right.
like he's still trying to break it this year.
Yeah, that's because I took the curse off of him.
No context needed. I remember the curse you
You're a
placed.
real fan if you remember.
Megan,
Mikko, I think you're much bigger than the empty net goals.
I,
Third in the league in points overall, second in goals. But over this last 10 game segment, you have 6 goals, 10 assists, 16 points, but you lead the team in this recent stretch with 3 power play goals. And the power play is continuing to struggle, but you are finding ways to put the puck in the back of the net in a much needed fashion. And honestly, it's reminiscent of what you do best on the power play. So I just want to continue to see Mikko be Mikko, because right now this is like top version of what he can be. You know, we see him kind of fall into quiet periods at times, and I think we're getting a pretty consistent Mikko Rantanen through this season amidst a lot of struggles for this team.
Mikko, this is the first time I'm actually addressing him. 14 game point streak, which is beautiful, insane. Love that for you, Mikko. I said that I'm gonna have to start calling his one-timers from the dot Mikko's office.
Mikko's
Who else
office.
agrees?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
It's the opposite side of Ovies, so yeah, it's up for grabs. I
Oh
think.
my God.
I'm just saying you
Really?
can't take the left circle and
This
call it
took a weird
anybody
direction.
else's office.
You can do
How did
whatever you
Ovi
want
get
if
in
you're
our
Mikko
pyramid?
Rantanen. Anyway, the downside to Mikko, I'm so sorry. I have to bring this up.
Wow,
the
I
puck watching.
didn't list a downside. That's
The puck
interesting.
watching. It's still bad. That's like a really, really big downside. And I'm not sure how you get him to stop doing that, but that is the one thing that I would like him to improve on.
It's true. There have been some defensive mistakes as a result of that. And I'm just, Mikko, do you need an assignment? You know what I mean? Like someone to say, here's your task here. You have a role to play. Because you do have one. You do have an assignment. I don't know what makes you just get caught up in watching the puck sometimes. But you know what?
But it's more like you'll just see him standing there. Everybody else is moving around and he's just kind of standing. Knee's not even bent.
And sometimes he's a little soft along the wall and he's too big to be a little soft. You know what, Mikko, you're our number 3. I didn't mean for this to become a
I was gonna say
I'm
now
joking on Mikko.
suddenly who's the pessimist now?
Hey,
it's not me over here on this part of the studio.
He's never been number 1.
All
so
right,
he has
empty
to
net
work
goals.
on something.
What do you want to say about Mikko?
I will also I'll add in a little bit contradiction to you two. I've always been of the opinion that Mikko Rantanen, you live with the lumps. He is such an elite goal scorer, such an elite playmaker, that you might catch him puck watching sometimes. You might catch him falling down, getting a little bit angry. You live with it because he's so good.
This was totally
I love
a
that we
side
both
note.
just took a big
Yeah.
But at the official halfway point in the season, he has 24 goals. That's putting a 50-goal season back in his sight line. I'm not going to get carried away here, but it'll be easy to continue putting Mikko at the top of our pyramid if he continues to be on a 50-goal pace.
3 hat tricks this season?
Mm-hmm.
Sheesh.
Again, if the empty nets.
Yeah.
But
But
suddenly.
his empty net goal last night was great. I'll give him props to that.
Well, and the other thing that you can't, and this, you guys are going to give me a hard time with all the Kivy stuff, but the one thing that you can't undersell when you are scoring empty net goals is that you are being trusted out there late in the game to help shut down the other team. And that is something that not just Mikko Rantanen, but the entire top line has earned over the years. Because with Jared Bednar,
Kivy Ranta.
and that's what I'm saying. Like that's where you do.
I just want to make sure you said it.
No, and now I know I even gave the disclaimer of like I know this is going to come back in my face, but when Jared Bednar first got to town, Mikko Rantanen, Nathan MacKinnon were not last minute of the game 1-goal lead guys, and now they are staples there, and that is a big part of the reason why Mikko Rantanen is able to cash in on the empty net as often as he is.
Mm-hmm.
You guys ready for number 2? Number 2 on the pyramid. I'm excited because I think there's probably a lot of one of two ways here for a lot of people in the chat. It is Nathan MacKinnon, the first star of December. Not quite at the top of the pyramid, but there's not really much else we could say about this guy. If it wasn't for overwhelmingly outstanding play from one other player on this team, he'd probably be the runaway at number 2. He has been near unstoppable this season.
Nearly a 2 points per game pace over this last 10-game segment. First in the league in points, now with 66 points on the year, 14 goals, 52 assists. Nate's been and has continued to be incredible. And at times, I think he carried the weight of outcome on his shoulders for this team. I think the weight has been lessened in ways in getting some more security in net, but it hasn't stopped him from being a top performer. And I think that says a lot about who Nate is.
I'm going to say some downsides. So if you have positives, then
Okay.
maybe you should go first.
No. I already got all my positives in.
Okay.
But this is why he wasn't at number 1.
Yes.
Right here.
This is why. He's a little lower today. Well, I guess he's in really the same spot, but he was a little lower for me because he hasn't scored a goal in 6 games. And you can see the frustration. You can see that he wants to break through that really badly. And I commend him for doing that. But I swear if I have to watch him shoot the puck into the goaltender's chest one more time, I'll lose it.
See, to me, it's when he wraps the puck around the boards from a sharp angle. It's like, why did you shoot that? And now it's gone the other way. Here's one criticism that I'll jump on with you there, Chloe. I'd like to see him hold the puck a little bit more on these zone entries. I don't get why they are so in love with this immediate drop pass inside the blue line. Nate, you're not using that speed to back guys up enough. Get your guys a little bit more space off the blue line, using that driving speed coming into the zone. Back the D up a little bit more. Guys are just jumping that pass right there. Nathan MacKinnon's a one-man zone entry, and I feel like they've been trying to make him distribute a little bit too much. Number one on the pyramid, I think they're deserving. I think
Somebody give us a drum roll.
That'll work. It is goaltender number 39, MacKenzie Blackwood, the league's best goalie since he was traded to Colorado. MacKenzie Blackwood has not only been outstanding in his play with the Avs, near a .950 save percentage, maybe even over that after last night. I'd have to double check as of today. Has changed everything about this team from the net on out. MacKenzie Blackwood has gotten this team back on track near single-handedly.
Brother, is that not the truth? Yeah, like best goaltender in the league since he's been traded. When you look at the goal saved above expected or the high danger save percentage, he's tracking in the top 3 in almost all of these categories. A .938 save percentage over this last segment, 22.73 expected goals against, just 14 goals allowed in that frame. Even the games that he's lost, they get a point out of the Montreal game because of him, especially coming up huge in that overtime period on the penalty kill. In that Vancouver game where everyone was sick and Kiefer Sherwood got a hat trick. I'm not blaming MacKenzie.
I love
Blackwood.
that you put lost in air quotes. Even the games that they lost.
So they basically just win when MacKenzie Blackwood is in net. And I feel that way in the difference of the team playing in front of him. You know, we talked about it at the top of the show, so I won't go off on that tangent too much. But since the trade, they've allowed the 6th fewest goals against in the league. And in this stretch, specifically the 5th fewest goals against in the league. He is, it cannot be overstated what a difference maker he's been for this team.
Hey, again. I love it.
Vaguely.
Arts and crafts
It's for our arts and crafts budget. Thanks, Guerrilla Sports Arts and Crafts Department. You a real MVP. Look, we've got some room for improvement. We want a better shot of MacKenzie.
That $4.99 is going straight to a new roll of Velcro. I'll tell you that right now.
Laminating sheets.
And a new picture of Blackwood at the top.
Yeah. If Chloe had done her job today, we would have had an appropriate picture, but kind of got thrown on me at the last second. So sorry about that.
I hope you guys know everything that Jesse says is false. I want to have a moment of silence for Kale not being at the top of the pyramid because he's only been our number 1. This is the first time we've had anybody but Kale as the number 1.
You got Megan to face palm on that one.
But I also don't think it's a coincidence that 5 years ago today, MacKenzie Blackwood has had his teeth knocked out, and now he's at the top of our pyramid.
Now it's for sure a day he'll remember forever.
Started
I know.
from the
That's
bottom.
what I'm
Now
saying.
he's here.
Now he's here.
At the Guerrilla Sports top of the pyramid.
I feel so much relief to have him as our starting goaltender, and I think that the Avs have made it through part of their quarter-life crisis, and they've come out on top.
What do you want to say about MacKenzie Blackwood?
Well, I mean, I kind of kicked it off saying he's changed everything. It's not just the outstanding play and the numbers that Megan was just listing off. It's what he's brought to this team, into the locker room, and the confidence that he's given them. And you can see that the confidence is then in turn back and rubbing off on him, and he's playing better because he knows the team believes in him. Oh my gosh, another one! Vaguely again.
Vaguely.
They are now suggesting that we go to a magnet board, which we've now got $10 to do it, and we just might have to.
I like that idea.
I do too. I think that's smart.
Yeah.
I think that's smart. We'll maybe see a refreshed board for game 60. Megan and I did talk about it last night, by the way. I know technically we're at 41. But we are going to start hitting game 50, game 60, game 70 on the 10 game. So yeah, maybe for game 50, we'll have a nice refreshed little board here.
Maybe a trifold.
Ooh, all right.
Ooh.
Thanks to Vaguely,
Or
we
not,
might
I
have to
don't know.
refresh the board. The arts and crafts department's budget keeps going up.
We are going up.
Guerrilla Sports Arts and Crafts to the moon.
So, would you
Oh,
say
yikes.
that you have
I don't know about that
trust in MacKenzie Blackwood?
There you
I
go.
would say that I have trust.
I also trust him.
Well, Trusted American wants to help you get through the holidays without having to make your mortgage payment. Go to trustedamerican.com to see how they can help you refinance your home and not have to make any payments until February. Trusted American salary-based mortgage consultants want to help you get into a better interest rate and lower your monthly payments. And right now they will cover the cost of your appraisal, which is a $650 value. Go to trustedamerican.com or scan the QR code on the screen to see how much money they can save you today.
Oh my God, Jesse's
That's
back.
it. I don't know.
I love how quickly you were able to make the trusted American one work.
Yeah.
That's a professional right there,
Oh, yeah.
folks.
Now we have to talk about who's not in the pyramid.
Do we though? Isn't that their punishment? They don't get talked about today.
I think they
You
would
want us to
enjoy
talk
it.
about you play better.
I think they would enjoy it more if we didn't talk about it. So
That's what I'm
why we're
saying.
gonna.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Chloe said make it painful.
I'm gonna leave this Bond villain out of the conversation.
Is it
Oh,
Kimmy?
no.
Oh,
It is Kivy. It is Kivy.
I'll say something
Aw.
about
What a snow day! Holy smokes!
Wait, guys,
Yeah,
what are we
bitch
gonna do with
magnets.
all of
Ryan
this money?
B.
I've never had this much money
Was
before.
that Darth Maul in the photo there?
I don't.
If so, that's a.
Oh my God, it is good eye.
Is that?
It
Great
is.
photo.
I don't
Great
know who
photo.
you're talking about even.
What?
Who'd you say?
No, Chloe's not 21.
Would
to
you
answer the
say
question.
that Kivy has Sith Lord energy?
Guys,
Is he Bond
I feel
villain?
left
You know
out.
what? Bond villain for sure, but I could see some Sith Lord energy from. You know who really feels like the ruler of the Empire
I'm
is
so scared.
Nate.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that, he's
There's
Darth
a
Vader for
darkness.
sure. Yeah.
There's a darkness.
Where like if
in
you're
him.
on the council, you're in, but if you're not on the council, he might just choke you. You know. You not seen Star Wars?
Yeah, but you said something crazy. You said like Siflo.
Sith Lord.
Sith Lord?
It's like that's like the main.
Maybe I haven't seen
or
it.
running-
he's Kylo
I have
Ren
seen
and
Star
Jonathan
Wars.
Duran is Rey.
Who's? Oh, okay. You're talking about like at the end of the trilogy where they're like,
Yes.
okay, all right.
Next week,
All
the
right.
pod is just going to be we turn the camera on and point it to a TV and it's Star Wars.
And that's the show.
And that's it. And
That's it.
I bet.
I think he's more Bond villain than he is Sith.
I
Lord.
agree. I
Yeah.
think Nate's definitely Sith. Lord.
Who's the guy that's like
Oh my
like, white
gosh.
with
This is
like he's
going. This
bony.
is going excellent.
Oh,
I love today. Rare earth magnet money.
rare earth. Is that like an elite type of magnet?
Yeah. that's good.
Hold
Yeah.
on, I'm googling.
Oh,
God,
I
you
got
guys
a
are the
computer.
best.
Rare earth
Stacy,
magnet.
Stacy B, I think on the last one.
Yes,
Gosh.
it's a brand of magnet. We will be getting it specifically.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Now I'm definitely getting those.
Stacy, you know a lot about magnets.
I love someone with some good magnet
Honestly,
game.
this is helpful to
Shoot.
people who know things about arts and craft, like kind of giving us some
Mhm.
pointers,
Yeah, yeah.
but in a really polite
Hey,
way.
use rare earth ones.
Yeah, here's a-
Oh, who's that? Wait, I don't think it's that.
Oh,
General Grievous.
yeah. Let's say General Grievous.
That's
yeah.
who Kivy is.
Okay. All right.
See, I know Star
You
Wars.
know what? I feel bad, but also glad. Kivy got on our pyramid last time, and now we're being really mean to him.
Hey.
It's
I
10
would love if
games.
someone said that I was a Bond villain.
Oh.
I agree. I think that'd be kind of cool.
It's 10 games. He did great last 10 games. He did not so great this 10
He's
games.
fine,
He
he's
could be at the
fine.
top next 10 games.
He sure could. So could Keaton Middleton, technically. Anybody
Oh.
could be at the top. Did you read Evan's article last night in the Denver Gazette?
Oh my
I
god!
love this. I love this so
You
much.
guys are animals.
Draw the headshot for the top of the pyramid like the kids' night.
I like this for the people not on the
That's
pyramid.
I like that
actually
too.
not a bad idea. Yes.
Yes.
A separate hand-drawn pyramid for anyone who didn't make the pyramid.
But Jesse hates kids. So
All right, but if we're
can't.
drawing them,
Yeah, it'll
I'm a
look like
kid.
a
I
kid
I don't
through
have to.
them.
I'm not
I don't have
21.
to. You scream into the microphone, not knowing how to control your volume all night.
Whoa.
I
Let's
didn't get
also
that.
not
I didn't get
act like Chloe didn't text me halfway through the game saying, "I get what you mean." Yeah.
that. That he has no proof. There's no proof to this.
Wow.
Did you read Evan's article about
I
Keaton
did
Middleton in the Denver Gazette?
not.
Evan just it was very interesting because I agreed with everything that Evan was talking about, and that like clearly he's doing something to earn some trust. I just don't see what he's doing that is so markedly better than Calvin DeHaan, John Ludwig. But hey, credit where credit's due. 12 out of 13 games in the lineup for Keaton Middleton. He's doing something.
I have conflicted feelings about Keaton Middleton. He made the pyramid last time, and so the thing you're
This is crazy. Now this is getting crazy. Magic marker
money.
22. All right. We need markers, we need magnets, we need I don't know what else we need at this point, but you guys have funded the entire we have to have a great pyramid next time
because
it's all been funded.
It's got to have LED lights and glitter. It's sound effects.
I'm just gonna
press a button,
take the super chat money, give it to my wife, drop her at the craft store, and be like, you know what we need.
Hannah will know
She's
what
our new
we
craft
need.
department.
You
I don't know
what we
actually
need.
why we didn't start there and
Yeah.
tried to do this
Damn, we should've.
ourselves. To
I
be
did
honest.
steal some of her Velcro to make these, so we should have just
Stacy said we'll need receipts.
We'll need receipts, please.
yeah, just drop the expense link in the chat, and we'll make sure to drop it.
The things that I liked about Keaton Middleton before are still true. Strong penalty killer. And the things that he's made mistakes on, I kind of view that as, yeah, that's what you get with a player like a Middleton. It's not exclusive to just him. Ludwig in the Carolina game, baited out of position by Roslovic, and Calvin DeHaan, a share of those mistakes himself. The stay-at-home defenseman type, they're prone to these types of mistakes. So I don't know that if Ludwig or DeHaan is in the lineup, those mistakes don't get made. I think you see his limitations in mobility.
I saw that one come up first. That was the first one that the lights hadn't alerted me of, and I just started. Yeah, we're gonna need glitter money. We're gonna.
Oh wait, hold on. Another thing that Hurricane
this.
Teabag brought up.
Vaguely, you're the
Jesse's
best.
wife name is Hannah Montano.
Montana.
Yeah, it is-
Montano.
Yes.
It is spelled phonetically nearly like Hannah Montana. Yes.
I
Yeah.
don't know how I didn't put that together,
Yep.
but that is excellent.
It was actually before we ever even got engaged. She said, she goes, you know what I'm realizing? If we ever get married, I'm gonna be off-brand Hannah Montana.
Have you ever done a couple's
Never
costume? I don't know who the man
Who
would be in
you
the Hannah
Billy
Montana.
Ray Cyrus?
Whoa.
I could just,
Whoa.
I could just be. Does she go by Miley Cyrus and as her regular?
She's
ego
Miley.
'cause it's not Cyrus.
She's still Miley.
Miley something. I could just go as Miley, and Hannah could go as Hannah Montana.
Okay, yes.
And we could be the best of both worlds put together.
Hannah, are you listening?
I want to move on from Keaton Middleton because we've tried to get through that like 8.
I thought so, but he
Say that,
relates.
Pete.
But
You
he
did.
relates to him. I think.
I was just gonna say.
I mean, you don't have to
somebody else
hold
in
him
the chat
specific-
pointed it out. I think that he's gained a lot of trust
Mhm.
because of his size.
I think he's gained a lot of opportunity because of his size. Because of his size.
We don't.
Ryan
Why are we
P.
even doing the
Beth,
pod?
Etch-a-sketch portraits on the pyramid
with
with magnets. All right.
What
I
is
would
the 20
love to
what is-
learn how to draw
'Cause
with an
Etch-a-Sketch
Etch-a-Sketch.
is magnets, right? That's what is
Oh, is it?
pulling up the. I don't even know what it is.
Did you-
Sand? Magnet?
Magnet dust.
Magnet dust? That's what's pulling up the magnet
I
dust?
love magnet dust.
I do too. That's one of my top 5 dusts. For sure.
Okay, Keaton Middleton.
I think he's gotten some minutes. I think he's in the lineup. I'm mostly trying to talk to you as quick as I can before the lights start flashing again. And I love it so much.
No, I do. I do too.
He definitely brings a physical element to the game, but you got to start limiting the mistakes.
Yeah, he has obvious
Oh,
limitations,
man.
and the mistakes are born from those limitations. So it's also kind of unsurprising when they
Right.
happen. You live with it a little. I've
Right.
liked DeHaan a lot this year, so I
Uh.
kind of would like to see him get back in with Next guy that didn't make the pyramid.
This was the first one that, and I actually had a conversation with our boy Evan about this today at practice. It's not that he's been bad, but it has not been as consistently above expectations as we saw for the first 3 10-game segments. And that is Sam Malinsky, narrowly missing out on the pyramid today. Look, this is his first full NHL season, and it looks like it's showing a little bit. I think the break will be good for him coming up here in just a few weeks.
I don't think he's done anything wrong. He just hasn't done enough as right as some of the guys who made the pyramid. And this is where the Casey Middlestat one hurt me a little bit, because I want to reward growth, but also I don't want to punish somebody who hasn't done anything wrong. And I think what I'm struggling with is your joke.
Yes.
Wait, disco lights though. This isn't disco
lights.
We'll go
end the show.
We'll go disco lights on the way out.
Oh
we'll
my
go
God.
disco lights on the way out, but we got the green super chat lights.
Okay.
Vaguely, all of you guys are just too much.
You
I
guys
love
are
you guys
incredible.
all so much. I'm gonna be seeing green lights in my sleep, and I hope I see more.
I do too.
You want to reward growth.
I want to reward growth, but I don't want to punish somebody who hasn't done anything wrong. Like, the defensive side of his game actually has still been good. In this recent stretch at 5v5, lowest goals against of Avs defensemen and the second greatest differential in expected goals against and actual goals against behind a Taves, most blocks per 60 over this stretch. But his Corsi 4 percentage, usually a part of his game that stays 50 or above, 47.19%. And I think some of the lack of possession, one, it's translated to a lack of production. He had just 1 point in December, and it came out of the Christmas break. So the end of December. It was that Utah game, one of his best 200-foot games that we've seen in a little bit. He was obviously struggling a little bit to
snow day, money sign, snow day. It's a
snow
green
day.
snow day. It's snowing, it's raining, it's all kinds of stuff in the Gorilla Sports studio.
Dollar signs.
It's raining dollars. I love that from Megan just then.
Dollar signs.
Oh, I didn't even hear it.
That's how
It's
good
probably
it was.
best.
That's how convincing your accent was, Megan.
I get that a lot, that I have really convincing accents.
Really?
Like what?
I don't get that a lot.
Oh,
Nobody has said
I'm
this.
straight up lying to you guys.
Okay. I'm so sorry. We need to wrap this up. He has been good defensively. The production hasn't been there. He's shooting a lot. It matches the eye test. You see him shooting, but it's just not translating to production. And I just worry that the offensive minutes have obviously been limited in moving from the second pair opportunity in the absence of Josh Manson back to a third pair. And I think there's limitations in a Middleton-Malinsky pairing that we're seeing hurt Malinsky's game. And I don't mean to and it's all Keaton Middleton's fault. Because
she picked his photo back up to make that point.
You do things right too. Stop making me choose.
Like I said, I think the break will be good for Sam Malinsky. It's understandable that he's hit a little bit of a rookie wall, and just that this is the longest season he's ever played. This is a more grueling schedule than he's ever played on this scale. And I think that reflects in the production. Only 5 points so far this year. He had 10 points in 15 games last year.
Yeah.
So that's maybe the one part that's been disappointing. But again, I don't think any of it is unexpected. I think he's still playing fine.
I think it's gotten a little bit better in these last 2 or so games. He had a play last night where he almost led to a Panthers scoring chance, but he was able to kind of catch up and make sure it didn't happen. And that's sadly the biggest thing that I've noticed from him in this 10-game stretch. But he is getting better, more aggressive offensively, and I think that hopefully he just needs a goal. And that'll be his kind of push to get back into it where he was last year.
He'll be back in Minnesota in front of family and friends, and I think he should score 5 goals.
I agree.
That would be
Thank you.
something. That would be something. That would be enough to get him back onto the pyramid.
Back on the pyramid, number 1 on the pyramid. Are you kidding me?
Oh, should we end this?
Cale Makar. Sorry, it's that's kind of a bold thing for Chloe to say.
Yeah.
Whoa.
No hate to Cale Makar.
Knocking your boyfriend off the top of the pyramid.
That's my boyfriend. Not
That's
Cale
your
Makar.
husband.
That's
All right, guys.
No.
It's been a great
No.
edition of Off Ice. I'm not sure if we even can end this without more lights happening.
Cue the disco lights.
Let's get some lights going. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
There they are.
We'll be
Thanks.
back with some road coverage.
Big shout out to everybody for the super chats today. And yes, Megan and I will be back in studio tomorrow night. It's going to be fun. I love watching games with you, Megan.
I do
They're
too.
going to be so fun. Chloe, you're also invited.
Oh.
The show.
Goodbye.
Oh my God, another super chat on the way out the door. That was a fun practice pod today.
That was.
Redacted.
That's it was. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.